most important to their teams in terms of being the straw that stirs the proverbial drink.
How about Michigan scoring off the tip? You see Holloway looking for Sophisticated on the run.
Yeah, sometimes people ask, hey, is there an app for that? Well, there's a play for that. There's a play out of a jump ball to tip it, set that screen, and finish. Nicely executed out of the gates here at home by the Wolverines.
And steal on the other side. Minnesota only turns it over 9.8 times per game. That is first in the nation. Their first possession results in a turnover. The baseline Swords is going to kick it back out. A deep cross-court pass. Brooke Quarles-Daniels is able to penetrate. Olivia Olson against her home state team off target for three.
And that's a zone that Michigan is looking at from Minnesota, trying to pack that painted area. And that's something that Minnesota does exceptionally well, taking the paint away from opponents.
You see how Minnesota responds here. They were close against another ranked team in Maryland a couple weeks ago. Went to double overtime at Minnesota, and back-to-back turnovers to start this game.
Yeah, live ball turnovers, and that is what Michigan feasts on. 29 points per contest off of those turnovers, and even in games that they lose, they still do a great job with that as Holloway's off the ground.
It's going back the other way. Kim Barnes-Arico said, we're playing a group in Minnesota that we know can challenge the top teams in the Big Ten because of the experience that they have in playing together. This is a group that has stayed together cohesively.
Yeah, no question about it. And if you're a young team, you just kind of don't know better. You just have to fly around and do your job defensively, and I think that's what Kim Barnes-Arico is banking on in this game, but they have to play foul-free. That has been a bugaboo for this young team as well.
Tori McKinney will turn it over. That is 3 straight turnovers to start this game, Christy. Again, Minnesota turns it over under 10 times per game to lead the entire nation. What they're doing under Coach Plitzowite, incredibly disciplined basketball that we're used to seeing from the Gophers.
Yeah, Maura Braun told us today after practice, she said, listen, everybody comes in understanding when they walk in the door for practice, you're holding yourselves accountable to a very high standard of excellence. And yes, you can make mistakes, but you got to be able to correct them.
Olivia Olson, a three-point play opportunity that's going on a Maya Battle. Those two faced off in high school in Minnesota.
Take a look at this play. Olson just gets right to where she wants to go, right inside the painted area with 10 toes. With a nice flip of the wrist. And got that one to drop in. She just plays with such a high level of confidence. She did that last season as a freshman where she averaged 16 points per contest. Here's their press now. They can apply their 2-2-1 after that made free throw to complete the and one.
Minnesota has not gotten a shot off. All 3 possessions have been turnovers to begin this contest. Battle, though, going right at Swords, up and under, bounces out. Hard working the offensive glass, but one and done for Michigan's defense.
Yeah, Battle is so tough, and she's also very heavily relied upon to score the basketball, especially in the painted area for Minnesota.
How did she even see Sophisticated? Sophisticated, again, is stopped inside. Minnesota comes away with the basketball off that dish from Olson. Here's Tori McKinney, the leading scorer for Minnesota. She forces that up, and Battle is going to want to reset.
Well, I like that, and then now you can repost and clear space.
How about Sophie Hart moving bodies on that play?
That's a big body bends play. That's what we say. Get into the body and finish. Move some furniture around in there and get an easy bucket.
Big battle inside between Hart and Sophisticated. That's going to go on Sophisticated.
Yeah, it was Heart and Soul on the other side, with Hart getting this big, strong bucket. Nice leverage, great footwork to complete the play on the baseline side.
Sophie Hart, a grad student, Minnesota native, started her career at NC State as Briley Glenn has entered the game. She darts to the rim, and the weak side rebound to Mila Holloway, who will accelerate the other direction. Olson, plenty of time from 3, halfway down and out before an offensive rebound. Quarles-Daniels keeps it alive.
That was a terrific look, though, in transition. That transition triple try by Olson was a nice look.
Holloway, a strong attack. The rebound ripped down by Glenn. And now she'll push.
Michigan doing a great job of getting back and being established defensively. And that's going to be another key for both teams, to get back and wall up and take away the paint.
Grabowski The hesitation, the spin move, and the bucket.
Talk about great footwork on the interior. That's back-to-back plays by the post for Minnesota.
In stride, Sophisticated couldn't quite get it. That ball might have been touched, but it's going to be Minnesota basketball on that attempted fast break.
On the floor for your Wolverines, number 22.
Michigan is a team that loves to score in transition, scoring off of turnovers as well. They want to get out and run.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 29 points off of those turnovers, and those second chance points were there in the top 5 in the conference and in the country.
Polsky, soft touch, follows her own miss. Tries to muscle her way up, is stopped at the interior, but a whistle will go against Michigan and Olivia Olson.
Principle of verticality was why this was deemed an infraction. Watch the follow-up. Watch the hands by Olson. See, she broke the plane, the hand came down. You have to be hands to heaven, straight up to the ceiling on that. And she broke the plane and made contact.
The imaginary cylinder.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Gracholski to the free throw line, where she is 13 for 13 this season.
And going back to having your hands up and being vertical in a cylinder, you can't put your hands up in a cylinder and be vertical after the whistle. It has to be during the play. But you see everybody like, no, my hands are up. No. The shot went up. They were not.
You know, unfortunately, that does not count.
Yeah, not. I mean, I think I did that once, and I was like, you're right. Then I stopped doing that.
No matter how long you pose.
Like, yeah, I was like, you know what? You got me. I gotta do better.
Offensive foul, illegal screen is going to go on Michigan, and Kendall Dudley, who's just entered the game off the bench.
Yeah, and you know what? That's not her fault. Watch. You have to wait for the screen to be set before you put the ball in the deck. That's not Dudley's fault on that play. I fouled out of a game doing that. I'm having some really bad memories from these fouls coming up here. Very familiar.
Hey, it's a two-way street. Let's talk about the guards as well. There, the mid-range is good for Sophie Hart, where she's expanded more of her game this year.
Yeah, nice soft touch there.
This is an 8-0 run for Minnesota, who looked rattled to start the game. First 3 possessions, all turnovers, and now they're settling in.
Right, and you can't throw skip passes against the ravenous weak side defense that has fantastic anticipation skills. So you have to understand who you're playing. So knowing your personnel isn't just who you're playing with, it's also who you're playing against. So you got sharks in the water everywhere out here for Michigan. So you can't make those long passes that are easily deflected or stolen.
Off the flare screen, Olson fading along the baseline, a ridiculously high difficulty shot.
Good patience there. That mid-range has come up huge for Minnesota so far out of the gates.
She's trying to refine her mojo. Shot 30% in both games in the Pacific Northwest this last week. Here's Braun draining a 3 for the Gophers, and now we're going back and forth with these offenses.
Just so good to see more Braun back on the floor for Minnesota. Injuries have kept her off the floor the last couple of seasons.
Kendall Dudley gets this step going right at and challenging Hart.
Minnesota going to be reactive. They had those 2 games out on the West Coast. Got some foul trouble in both of those games, and that's tough for your rotations. So everybody has to be on point in terms of their discipline, and that's a great start for Michigan. But Minnesota now has kind of found some fluidity against that force.
By a battle, trying to fight off Olivia Olson, 2 Minnesota-born players. Comes away with the rebound. Minnesota back on offense. 4 for 8 to start this game after a precarious start. Now Tonga backing down. Kendall Dudley gets her right to the rim.
Man, right in front of the cup. Lip of the rim. So that basketball drift right over top of it. Nicely executed post power play inside for Minnesota.
And Dudley has a lot of versatility, but playing the 5 in this lineup right now for the Wolverines.
Yeah, she has to be loose. Transfer from UCLA, DMV native, Sidwell Friends High School in DC. Played alongside of Kiki Rice in high school and 1 year there at UCLA. But Kendall Dudley's mom was the head coach for Sidwell Friends. But just take a look right here. I mean, really nothing more that Kendall Dudley could have done here defensively. She had to wall up maybe some help could have come to thwart the extra dribble, that rhythm dribble that got the shot to go up and in.
Blitzing battle. She tries to thread it inside. That's 4 turnovers for Minnesota in this first quarter alone.
Nice job there by Dudley to blow that up with a deflection on the recovery.
Mila Holloway launches a 3. That's too strong. Tonga corrals it. And Minnesota forcing the issue, finding Groholski for 3. She's off target. The game this season, 9 threes against Maryland in that double overtime loss in December.
And you were on that game, so that was quite a dynamic matchup there.
A bonkers result. So you look at a team come back from down 9, 45 seconds to go.
45 seconds that's crazy. Wow.
Dudley misses right at the rim. Probably wants that one back. Minnesota still leading 13-7. As battle goes back to orchestrating this offense in the half court under 3 minutes to go in this first frame.
Going back to that game with Maryland, I mean, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And that's game by game, but it's also possession by possession.
And Minnesota is on a 4-game win streak right now. They did not get 2 down after they had that game in their hands against Maryland, which would have been a major ranked victory for this program.
Yeah, I mean, they've been fantastic over the stretch of their last 4 games, and they've just tightened up the screws, and they've had 4 different players average between 11 and 12 points during that stretch, and a different leading scorer in all 4 games too. So they've had some versatility, but they've also had some really reliability deep into their bench.
Unselfishness of that too. Michigan in trouble here now, 10 to shoot. Silas Swords has been quiet in this first quarter so far. Ball in her hands right now. 5 seconds to shoot. Here is Holloway again from 3. This time she cans it.
Yeah, they're giving Silas Swords a hard show on every pick and roll or dribble handoff action. They're trying to slow her roll and shorten up her space.
Groholski trying to back down against Swords, picks up her dribble. And again, a Minnesota turnover. That is half of their per-game average this season in the first 10 minutes. But Briley Glenn tries to snatch it back. Del Foss aggressively going for it. And a turnover on the hustle play will give it back to the Gophers.
Yeah, that was, when I was talking about those long passes, those are easy to get your hands up and on. Now take a look. A push-ahead pass, and then Olsen, I think she wanted that back when it was in the air, because she knew that wasn't going to have enough smoke on it to get across there. But you got to come meet that pass too. If you see that, you have a balloon losing air like that coming across the paint, you got to come and go get it. Save the possession for the team and save your teammate from a turnover.
Glenn in isolation on this side of the floor, flips it up and in for Minnesota. Really solid addition off Minnesota's bench this season. Macy Brown lines up at 3. That's not there, and Groholski is able to hold off a Wolverine for that board. Seeing a C, Mara Braun sheds the defense and gets it to full.
Very nicely executed right there by Minnesota.
Minnesota, 5 of their last 7, they are rolling. Both these teams top 10 in the nation in defensive rating. And Minnesota looking comfortable against the Wolverines so far.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, every play is mental gymnastics. Like, what are they going to do this time to break the pressure?
Del Foss leaves it for Dudley, and she travels. That is 4 turnovers on the Wolverines.
Look at Silas Swords. I'm sure she has seen so many different defensive schemes. Look at this. They're going to blitz her off of that dribble handoff. And then Dudley kicks it out for the one more pass for the triple. But they're going to have better ball movement. It stayed on one side right there. But Silas Swords, I mean, she plays international basketball in the Olympics. I'm sure she's seen so many different things, so she's not shaken by that.
Minnesota throws it away to Michigan, but they'll give it right back. We're going to stay here. But an extra note about Silas Swords. Yep. Minnesota has held her without a shot in this first quarter. And that was something Coach Barnes-Arico told us before this game. We need to find easy shot opportunities for Olsen and Swords.
Right. And Minnesota says we're not giving those up. And they have been able to jam up those pick and rolls and those dribble handoffs with the blitz.
Mara Braun looking good on that mid-range 2, and Minnesota leading by 9.
Great execution That out of bounds underplay where they set that double stagger screen to free Braun up for an easy look.
Holloway will drive, leave it for Sword. Shot clock is off. And she's going to reset now with 10 seconds to go in the first quarter. Swords, drives, kicks, Corals Daniels, one dribble, pull-up doesn't fall. McKinney tries to rip it away from Del Foss, and that's how the first quarter will end. This is a good one here at Christ Minnesota about how competitive Mara is, that she will run through a wall, anything to win. If they lose, sometimes she's in the kind of mood you maybe don't want to be around her.
Absolutely. That's what elite players do, right? If you're unbothered, then I'm bothered by that. If you're unbothered when you lose.
Hart is blocked inside as we begin the second quarter here at Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor. First game of the new year for Minnesota coming off a bye. Here is Holloway no good for three. We're finding a lot of those opportunities. Saves it to Sophicanik, who forces that up, and Braun Battle secures it.
Great hustle by Holloway there, though, to try to save that possession. A couple miscues in terms of their shots not falling. Still staying diligent.
Holloway, 1 of 5 shooting, 1 of 3 from long range so far for the Wolverines. Here's Grahulski. She nets it from distance.
Yeah, you cannot fall asleep and be watching the basketball and overhelping, right? You have to have your head on a swivel and in a stance on your toes, ready to close out when that basketball's in the air.
The Wolverines in the first quarter had their lowest scoring quarter at home this season. Here is Holloway, a long range 2. She gets it to fall.
Nice read there. McKinney went under the screen, and that allowed Holloway to rise, fire, and stick it.
Minnesota leading by 10. The Wolverines off to a 5-0 start in this one. Minnesota turned it over its first 3 possessions, but Minnesota closed at a 19-5 burst the final 8 minutes of this quarter. Back to work on the offensive end. Here is Braun letting it fly.
Right now, even though Minnesota's hit a couple outside shots, it's a 10-4 advantage in paint points for Minnesota over Michigan, and that's what Michigan loves to do. They love to get downstairs and finish right there at the cup. Minnesota doing a good job so far taking that away.
Michigan normally 4th in the country, paint points per game, 47 per contest. Minnesota 1st in disallowing that. So here's Sophicanik, a patient post move.
Yeah, I love a patient post move, and I love a turnaround fader. It's tough to guard. It's too quick to contest.
Michigan causing trouble for Minnesota, forces the turnover. The advantage goes to Olsen, and she finishes through the contact.
Really great stick-to-itiveness by Michigan. Their defense all over the place, swarming, suffocating, and now Olsen did the show and go. And then Minnesota saying, show and no, we can't have a foul. My God, especially with Olsen. I mean, she's just so strong and sturdy. It doesn't matter what you do. And I think this year even more so. Even as a freshman, I thought she was ahead of the game in terms of the strength. Usually it takes freshmen a whole year to get their legs underneath of them, but she has all of that.
A Minnesota turnover, number 7 for the Gophers. Here is Holloway right at Braun, and she has free throws coming up.
And this is what Kim Barnes-Arico said. Hey, we want to put pressure on the rim. When we get a turnover, we're taking it right back downstairs. Watch this. Great anticipation on that weak side. That's how you try to break the press, get it to the middle, and then get to the opposite side. Now Holloway is able to get a straight line drive opportunity and get to the line.
Well, Michigan so far in this one is 3 for 5 shooting from the free throw line, but this has been an Achilles heel for this team. 65% collectively this season, 312th this season. They're getting to the line, but you look at this last weekend, Christy, in the Pacific Northwest, they shot 25 for 55. That's 45% over 2 games.
But listen, 55 free throws though. That means you're in attack mode. So you just got to pay that off. You can't leave all that meat on the bone and expect to win close games. I mean, that's a huge difference maker in terms of production.
Offensive foul, that's going to go on Tonga, and that is 8 turnovers for Minnesota so far against this Wolverines team, forcing over 25 per game.
And just take a look at this screen. Tonga definitely moving and getting that right hip into Silas Swords for the displacement.
3 straight turnovers for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Michigan continuing an 8-0 run. Almost 11-0 right there by Swords. And a whistle's going to go on the Wolverines, or rather, Grocholski, that's going to go on her first.
Olsen, that shot hit everything but the bottom of the net, but it was a great look. And Silas Swords, that's why I said she's going to be one of the straws that stirs the drink for her team. And Mara Braun for Minnesota, the same. I mean, they may not have a copious amount of points scored, but they're going to create offense for the team, and they have to stay steady and disciplined on both sides.
Sofa Kanik comes to set a screen for Swords, who still has not taken a shot in this game, being guarded by Braun. Sweeping along the baseline, didn't quite have the angle as Tonga secures it.
Silas Swords tried to get herself on the board there, but she had 3 defenders around her.
Blocking foul is going to go on Sofa Kanik, and Tonga looks relieved. They were tied up. That's going to be 2 on Ashley Sofa Kanik.
Oh, let's take a look at that one. A lot of physical plays in the last sequence. There's Tonga right there. And oh, wow, let me see. Oh, that's such a bang-bang play, Sloan. But it almost looked like she fell before Tonga hit her. It looked like there was no advantage for either player on that. I mean, I know the one hit the deck, but it didn't look like there was any force displacement.
Glenn along the baseline off the backdoor cut. And a whistle's going to go on Hart. That's her second.
What did you think of that last one?
I think it's a tough physical matchup. Maybe that's something you let them play through.
Yeah, I agree with that.
6:15 on the clock. This is going to put Michigan in the bonus, and free throws here to Olivia Olsen. 76% this season. Was at 82% last year. And misses her first. Now thinking about her facing her former team. Had 19 points, a game high, 8 rebounds in 39 minutes with her high school team, Benilde St. Margaret, in the Twin Cities, back-to-back state championships.
Yeah, when you know how to win, you can figure it out in close games, and you know that your team is relying upon you to execute and lock in.
Dudley, no good on the reverse, and ripped down by Braun. Minnesota being tough on the glass here against Michigan, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the nation. Quick ball movement is in the hands of Glenn, who misfires from 3. Another rebound to Olsen.
Transition.
Barreling to the rim is Holloway. And Minnesota will again take over on the glass.
Like a hot knife through butter right there. She went past 5 players, but just couldn't pay it off. And she got to home plate.
And Michigan has struggled layups. They're credited as 2 for 10 shooting in this game. Swords with her head up. She's going to go right at Braun, trying to go up and under, and powers it through for the Wolverines.
Well, I said I didn't know for sure if they would be matched up against one another, but if they are moving forward, man, circle that matchup.
10-0 run for the Wolverines. Look at Olsen, feisty on the floor. It's going to send it this way off the jump ball. That is now 9 turnovers forced.
Yeah, this is what Big Ten women's basketball is all about, right? The grit and determination, a 50-50 opportunity. Who wants it more? We said it's going to be will over skill. Get on the deck. Kim Barnes-Arico, loving it. Clapping up the effort. And coaches love to see that, right? And there's too much said about buckets being scored. It's those plays that make a difference at the end of the game.
That's what Coach Barnes-Arico says about this big 3, the sophomore group. You'd never know that they were the best players because of how hard they work. Plays like that exemplify it.
Yeah, absolutely.
5 to shoot. They go inside to Dudley. She forces it up. Offensive rebound. Corals Daniels fouled on the jump shot. Smallest player on the floor with multiple offensive rebounds.
Yeah, that was just we said coming in. It was going to be a battle of the defensive mindset for both teams. And who's going to bring the most discipline on that end? Both coaches said, hey, we have to have discipline. We can't get into foul trouble. That's what Michigan's head coach, Kim Barnes-Arico, was talking about. And Dawn Plitzwhite was saying, hey, we've got to come out and take away what they like to do. And they like to have the basketball in the hands of Silas Swords, and they're bringing a lot of attention and taking a lot of space away from her to create.
Battle against the length of Tayala Delphos, cleanly gets it over. And Minnesota looking to settle into the offense here. 4:30 on the clock before halftime. Michigan now on a 12-0 run. Minnesota on its heels here in the first half.
This back screen, they need to clear that out and try to create two-player strong side here.
1 second, Gracholski just realizes it, throws it up, nearly puts it in, and Brooke Quarles-Daniels corrals another rebound.
Kim Barnes-Arico would have had to wipe off her glasses from fogging up if that went in.
Just out of the reach of Olsen. That'll be a turnover for the Wolverines, number 5 for them.
Let's see this defense here, just a one-up, soft pressure, man-to-man, full court. And now they're going to run jump it a little bit.
Battle, somehow that gets to the hands of Tonga, forces it through trees, and Dudley comes up with it.
Nice recovery to wall up with two players right there at the rim.
Delphos barrels her way through, earns a blocking foul. And free throws coming up where Michigan has a chance to take its first lead since it was 5-4 at the 6:24 mark of the first quarter. Riley Glenn, Mila Holloway checking back in for either team. Tied up here at 22.
At the line, shooting to number 33, Tayala Delphos.
Delphos has worked her way into being the 4th leading scorer on this squad at the line. Thursday, see more women's hoops on Big Ten Plus when the Wolverines take on the Lady Lions and the Gophers host the Wildcats. Download the Big Ten Plus app today. It's always game on. And Delphos 1 for 2 on that trip, giving Michigan that first lead again since it was 5-4.
Well, what you don't want to do against pressure is dribble it. Have the defense guide you to where they want you to go. You'll be more under duress if you put the ball on the ground against the press than to try to get some push-ahead passes up the floor.
10 seconds for Minnesota. Battle calls her own number. Tonga, good effort on the glass to tip it to a teammate. And Gracholski wants this one. And she's got it. That touched nothing on its way down, breaking up a 13-0 run by Michigan.
Yeah, a tremendous moon ball triple right there for Minnesota.
Their first field goal since it was 9:05 on the clock in this second quarter. And somehow a one-possession game.
You're looking at Minnesota's defense right here, trying to take the paint away. Delphos trying to get the second opportunity and not available to her there because of great contact on the glass. And Gracholski on the other side. Look at her, she's calling for it. You gotta feed somebody who's calling for the basketball. Look at that moon ball, early lift and splash. All 3 of those are good.
Gracholski, a 50% shooter from 3 this season. McKinney is fouled in the paint. That's gonna be the second on Dudley.
Dudley turned her shoulders and gave up her legal guarding position, excuse me. Just take a look right here. You see her shoulders kind of more square to the sidelines than to the opposite baseline, which would force her to be squared up to the offensive player. She may have gotten all ball, but she wasn't square. And that's why that was whistled an infraction.
First point of the game for Tori McKinney, who leads this team in scoring, 13.2 per contest. She goes 2 for 2.
Back on the floor for your Wolverines, number 1.
Olsen checking back in for Quarles-Daniels for the Wolverines. And Olsen, the leading scorer for Michigan. 8 points, 50% shooting as well.
Holloway, Swords, and Olsen combined for 54 points last year. They lost that game against Minnesota. They really have to tighten the screws when it comes to their defense, and they can ill afford live ball turnovers like this one by Minnesota going the other way with it.
Glenn comes up with the loose ball, approaching 2 minutes to go before halftime. Closely contested here in half number 1 at Chrysler Center. Working through Battle in the high post against Olsen. Gracholski trying to get free against Delphos. McKinney a deep three. Hits the back of the iron. Delphos comes up with it.
I love watching Minnesota's sets. It's like they have a lot of rejections of screens on the weak side to occupy the help. Just couldn't get a bucket from it.
Delphos, a playmaker, leaves it for Dudley. She can't convert. Dudley 0 for 4 to start this game. And Michigan trails by 4.
What a dime right here. Delphos drawing 2 defenders and dropping a nice bouncer to the weak side. Just didn't take it high enough off the glass. Kendall Dudley next time will get it high off the window.
Michigan 3 for 14 on layups as the Gophers back on the offensive end, shooting 38% in this game. Battle, the hard drive, and the kiss off the glass. And a 7-0 run now for Minnesota.
Well, that's what makes her so tough. I mean, she's just very deliberate and decisive. And that comes from confidence. And confidence comes from work ethic.
I don't know how much better Nehemiah Holloway could have defended that shot, but Holloway puts it down. Crazy, crazy tough shot. Holloway up to 8 points herself. Final minute of the first half. Glenn can't find any kind of breathing room. Graholski, a quick trigger from 3, had nearly another one.
Yeah, she had another defender behind, and Kim Barnes-Rico had her hands up, saying, get a hand up. She had 3 hands in the way over there. Had the stick arm on the court, and Kim Barnes-Rico had 2 up right behind her.
Dudley setting a screen for Holloway. Minnesota switches. Swords has had no kind of breathing room in this game. Delphos for 3. She can stroke it from distance. And Minnesota will pick it up.
Yeah, that was a nice read right there by Dudley to kick it out to that weak side corner.
Delphos 10 of 20 this season. 5 seconds left for Minnesota. Picked off by Dudley. Sword to the final shot opportunity. Heaves and hits at the buzzer. How about that for the first bucket of the game? As we start the second half here at Chrysler Center, 29-28 is Minnesota's lead over number 9 Michigan. Minnesota seeking its first top 10 win since February 18th, 2018, as they force a turnover right off the bat.
Yeah, Minnesota also a 7-2 advantage on second chance points, right? 4 offensive rebounds in that first half for Minnesota on the road. So they're doing their due diligence. They're being dogged with their attack of possessions and extra possessions, trying to maximize opportunities to score.
Michigan normally 17 second chance points per game. It's amongst the leaders in the nation. As Holloway pushes it over half court. Olsen had a tremendous first half against her home state team. 8 points for Olsen. Here is Holloway calling her own number. That's off target. And an excellent rebound by Battle.
Silas Swords really wasn't involved in that offensive possession for Michigan. She needs to be. Whether she shoots it or not, she's got to get a touch.
Shot it 3 times in that first half, and one of them was a heave at the buzzer, which she beats. There's Battle along the baseline. Hart beats multiple jerseys, and it's going to stay right here.
Golden Gophers basketball.
Well, when it comes down to it, right, you understand your assignment. Right, and when we were speaking with Maura Braun, she was talking about the non-negotiables and how you have to come in and be ready for hard work every single practice. They went hard today in their shoot-around. It looked like a full-on regular day practice, not a game day practice.
Corals Daniels will travel on the fast break opportunity.
Yeah,
Minnesota takes back over.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sloan. She tried to get to that second side and put that extra puppy on the floor. That great play again. Minnesota trying to get those shots up on their out-of-bounds underplay.
McKinney, the leading scorer, tries to get something going. She was held in check in the first half, and another chance for Minnesota.
So much young talent across the Big Ten. And Kim Barnes-Rico said prior to the game, sometimes we have 5 sophomores on the court.
Underneath the basket, Hart doesn't get the angle. Sophie Canick, credit her for making that tough on Hart.
Talking about McKinney, another sensational sophomore for Minnesota.
Olsen rises, fires, and hits. She's got 10 points, the second in this game, to double figures.
She's just so solid with her footwork and skill set, and Braun just coughed it up.
Up ahead to Olsen, looking behind her head, finds Swords, who will shoot 2. That's going to be the third, second on Amaya Battle.
Just a miscue by Minnesota. Maura Braun just lost control of the basketball, but Olsen had full control right there with that bouncer behind the back. It's just vicious. Speaking of vicious, look at the footwork. Just nice rip around and step through on that mid-range shot. So tough to stop it.
Silas Swords trying to break out of a funk at the free throw line. 68% this season, was 87% in her freshman year. Goes 1 for 2, so that's a good start. And Swords up to 6 points, the third leading scorer on her team behind Olsen and Holloway. Nothing run for Michigan going back to that second quarter as Battle will orchestrate this offense. Four-year starter, Minnesota native. Tries to take Holloway on her own and kisses it off glass for 2.
Super tough right there. A couple ghost actions on that high ball screen on the nail extended up top. Afforded her that space to attack and finish that one.
Olsen returns the favor, wedging underneath her defense to the cup.
She opened the door on that baseline, and Olsen just walked right through it, had a snack, and left crumbs.
12 points for Olsen. 3 minutes into this third quarter, Quarles Daniels extending the defense. She'll be whistled with her first foul.
Well, when coaches say take the baseline away, they're not just using their words for fun. You've got to get your foot to the baseline side. Olsen did a fantastic job of attacking the top leg, but also taking advantage of the lack of defensive positioning there.
Not only does she score a ton, but also takes care of the basketball exquisitely. If you put a list with someone like Azzi Fudd, who could be a National Player of the Year, that says a lot about how foundationally solid you are.
Absolutely, and I mean, she had stars in her eyes at Media Day earlier this fall, and she was just so ready to get on the court and compete, and you can feel it. It's palpable, like her energy and joy and the love that she has to compete is shining through right now.
That left short by Battle. Michigan takes over, leading by 2 in this back and forth battle. It's 5-2 advantage to the Wolverines in this third quarter to start. Minnesota just 1 of 7 shooting in this frame so far.
Trying to look for some fluidity on the offensive end, having that flare screen.
The fluidity is coming from Olivia Olsen on that J. 14 points for the sophomore from Minnesota.
It was the flare screen that set her up to be open for that, and the defense didn't recover underneath. You have to snake under that and be unscreenable and not meet the contact of the screen to get through and contest.
McKinney up and under just as the crowd started to swell here at Chrysler Center.
Not much time to celebrate for either team in this game. I mean, it's gone back and forth.
Olsen for 3. Unstoppable game for Olivia Olsen. She's got 9 of her team's last 10 points. Raholski, strong attack right at Quarles Daniels for 2.
Like a wrecking ball right to the rack. I mean, that was massive.
McKinney takes a hard tumble, immediately gets back up, and now Swords is reestablishing this offense, guarded by Braun.
I like how she is composed and reorganizing in the quarter court, trying to get back into a set.
Holloway almost got into trouble there, able to dish it off. Finding Sofia Koenig underneath. What a dish that was!
A really smart move right there. Instead of forcing up a shot over 2 defenders with high hands in a cross match, found her teammate wide open on the weak side.
That's something that Dawn Plitzowite told us. She said this Michigan team is so good at playing in traffic. You can see it on that dime by Quarles Daniels, not panicking. 10 to shoot for the Gophers. Tonga Deep post up, trying to use her size and strength, and does so spectacularly.
A lot like Audi Crooks, right? Her ability to finish with the soft touch.
Olsen off target there.
And
it's
Gonna quiet that storm for sure.
There's a reason Minnesota leads the nation in opponent points per game, allowing just under 50 per contest. Here is Olsen trying to light it up once more and off target along the baseline.
49.9, we're gonna round it up. 50, Sloan. Put a 50.
I don't think they want to round it up.
No, they don't. They like 49. It sounds better. That's why I buy things $3.99 instead of $4. So it sounds cheaper.
Then you're hitting checkout as opposed to differently.
Free 99 is even better. I digress.
It's going to be a foul on the Gophers.
Well, I'm just anxious to see.
Oh, kicked ball, rather.
Okay.
Riley Glenn taking it out for the Gophers.
See if they can get Braun a touch here.
Got her defender Dudley in the air, but she stood solid under 10 to shoot. Gracholski makes her way into the paint and a tough finish.
Yeah, and that was a great move, but Braun being on the outside created that space, so there can't be help off that weak side because she's a shooter. So it's all about the great spacing. That's what Dawn Plitzuweit was talking about at practice today. She said we need that.
Doug Foss no good for three. Corralling a long rebound is Gracholski. She's leading Minnesota with 14 points, the second leading scorer in this game.
Yeah, she should line up on the same side as Braun again. And put Braun in the corner so they can't double team down there. And there's always a way.
Glenn has to retreat, 10 to shoot, then she attacks, leaves it short. Hart is right there, one of the best offensive rebounders in the country.
Stay right with it.
Gracholski calls her own number off back iron. Del Foss, look at her stride getting into the paint. She'll retreat herself.
She's just so long-limbed. Takes one long stride, gets her almost across the entire painted area.
Glenn tries to snatch it away. It's going to stay Michigan basketball on the baseline.
Gracholski, she has been carving out a niche on the offensive end. And look, you see Braun right there. He can't help off. So that's free and easy runway to the rim.
In her third season playing under Dawn Plitzuweit has really continued to expand her game. She is far more than a spot-up three-point shooter.
Absolutely. And run her off the three-point line if you want to. She's going to cash it in inside.
Boxing out so well, there was complete empty space in the middle of the paint. Olsen can't take advantage of the second chance opportunity. This team's disciplined on the glass in this game. Here is Battle. The left hand doesn't fall. Right there is Glenn. She read that. It's going to stay Michigan basketball, but she's had a lot of small plays add up off the bench for Minnesota.
Yeah, people talk about quickness being speed from one point to the next, but it's got to be awareness, right? Look at Glenn right here. Boom. Getting right into the passing lane, getting into flexion, disallowing the push-ahead pass by Michigan.
Glenn was on some really good K-State teams before redshirting last year, playing her last season at Minnesota. 2:20 on the clock. Quarter number 3. Olsen going to take it right at Battle, hand in her face. Dudley soaring for the rebound, and the offensive putback is there. Her first bucket after starting 0 for 5, but filling the stat sheet in other ways.
Yeah, Kendall Dudley stays aggressive. She has a motor, right? A lot like Naz Hillman did in a Michigan uniform as well.
Battle leaves it for Hart, but she travels, shuffles her feet. It's a Minnesota turnover. That is 12 today.
When that shot goes up, that's when the best defenders are making a move and probing. Here comes Kendall Dudley. You see her, that shot's in the air, and that's how she won the possession. Everyone else is waiting for the shot to come off the rim, and she's already in great position to grab it and finish. And put it right back up. Smart move there by Kendall Dudley.
Offense in the hands of Swords. The lob inside to Olsen, not quite there. That is Michigan's 9th turnover.
And at least it's a dead ball turnover, though, and Minnesota can't go the other way with it. And live ball situation, putting duress on your defensive transition.
Yeah, just because Minnesota's last in the Big Ten in pace, a lot of that has to do with their defense forcing teams deep into the shot clock. That's not necessarily them slowing every part of the game down.
No doubt. Good call on that. Absolutely.
Graholski forces the issue, leaves it up for Tonga. Excellent playmaking, Grace Graholski.
That's exactly when and where she should have made that play. Right into the pocket.
She is showing off how much her repertoire has grown in her time in Minnesota with plays like that, as the Gophers take back over within one of number 9 Michigan.
Graholski doing it all right here. Little rip and go. Commit 2 to the basketball right here and then drop it off. Right in the pocket. Deuce.
And Tonga's played some very solid minutes for Minnesota as well, in the right place at the right time. The power and finish.
There's a lot of contact right there on the initial pump fake. And that's why you have to take that right back up. That fingers in the air.
And she was unfazed as Olsen stripped Minnesota, regaining control of this game. Braun in rhythm, not that time. Graholski tries to gobble it up. Instead, it's Dudley. 1-point game, final 30 seconds of this third quarter. Olsen snaking along the baseline. Gets away from Corals Daniels. 13 on the clock against the top-ranked defense in the nation.
Corals Daniels needed to move that ball and get it to the next side there.
Corals Daniels splits defenders with the pass, and Dudley takes care of it.
Pick and roll, baby, pick and roll. Nicely executed late in the shot clock and game clock.
Final shot opportunity for Minnesota. Tayala Delfa says, no, you won't. Takes away the basketball. What a third quarter that was, with number 9 Michigan leading by. But congratulations to Lexi and being a national champion.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kim Burns-Arico. She has a daughter who is a high school, high-level athlete, and one also who's on the field hockey team here. Is it field hockey or lacrosse?
You put me on the spot.
Oh my gosh. She is a student athlete here at Michigan.
But her daughter, Cece, is one of the highest-ranked recruits.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Meanwhile, that is going to be the second foul on Tori McKinney. As well, 3 of you have that in common. High-achieving
Mom squad.
athletes.
It's the mom squad. I love it. And you can do it all. Just, people say you can't do it all at once. You can. You just have to have a good juggle of it.
Michigan with 5 on the clock. The hesitation by Holloway. She's met by a brick wall in Tonga. Corals Daniels will travel again and give the ball back to Minnesota. It has been a back-and-forth battle between these two teams. Minnesota has not defeated a top 10 opponent since February 18th, 2018. Their last road regular season top 10 win, 2002, against the number 5 Badgers. That is what is on the line for Minnesota tonight in this 1-point contest here in Ann Arbor.
They had an opportunity against Maryland, but like you said, in the last 45 seconds of that game, gave it back after being up 9, so hopefully they learn from that.
Tonga was going for that drop step. It's going to be an offensive foul, the second.
So it's really tough to decipher.
So Silas Swords here at the free throw line. Her team leading by 1, trying to hold off unranked Minnesota, whose only losses this season have been to Maryland, Alabama, and Kansas by a combined 12 points. And Swords doing a good job there, giving her team a 3-point lead. 1 minute into this fourth quarter. So Tonga still on the floor for the Gophers as the Wolverines take back over offensively.
Let's see if the poise right here for Michigan pays off. Passing lane, they're jumping the passing lane so hard, and sometimes you can go backdoor and exploit that.
Foul's going to go on Tonga. You can see the foot speed advantage for Dudley on that drive. And for Tonga, that's going to be 3.
Another great decision right here. Kendall Dudley, the rip and go from the high post area. Even though she Tonga said, who was that on? They said 31? That's me. Oh my God. Just not happy about it. But it was a great decision by Dudley though, right? I mean, she had the space. No one was there occupying that side of the floor on the block. And that's why I love it. If you empty out, if your teammate gets the ball right there, empty out to the corner, especially if you can shoot it. That thing's set on the rim for 5 seconds. Oh, my.
Suspenseful free throw there.
Kawhi Leonard would be proud of a shot like that.
Michigan 10 for 18 from the free throw line. Minnesota's attempted 4 in this one. Battle trying to go one-on-one, has it stripped by Swords and kept alive by Michigan. Now off to the races, Quarles Daniels leaps into the paint and gets it to fall on the left side.
That's exactly what the doctor ordered and Ken Barnes-Arico too, saying come up here and pressure. Some one-up, some man-to-man pressure here in the full court.
Timeout is called by Minnesota with Michigan extending its lead 49-43 early in the fourth. Possessions separate Michigan and Minnesota. This is the largest lead of the game for the Wolverines and the largest lead since they led 5-0 in this contest.
Yeah, and you see right here Minnesota trying to run their horn set and then split that action and try to get an ISO down in the paint. And they got it.
An offensive foul will wipe that out. And that is 3 on Sophie Hart. She's only played 15 minutes today.
But I love this play. There was great spacing after that double stagger up top. And then, yeah, she cleared her space with that forearm. Too bad, because I love that play. Nice ISO touch for her. Maybe they can run it again and get it cleanly executed next time.
I'm correcting myself, Hart, a starter, has only played 12 minutes in this game. So foul trouble for her early on. And going to Finau Tonga. Michigan looking to continue to build its largest lead of the game. Holloway along the baseline, 2 seconds left, drains it.
A contested shot like that. Holloway cold as ice with that one.
A 9-0 run just when this team needs it. Groholski responds.
She has been flat out money. That corner pocket. That triple, nice and clean. And every time it just seems like she is the one to quiet the momentum swing that Michigan is trying to collect, especially with the energy here at home from the fans.
17 points and ice cold in her demeanor in the fourth quarter against a top 10 opponent. Olsen faces a lot of maroon jerseys, finds Quarles Daniels working along the baseline, leaves it for Dudley, who's been tremendous this fourth quarter.
She has some mitts right there, because that pass was coming with some ferociousness in terms of force. And she was taking that hard cut as well. It just somehow flipped it up and in.
Another 3 along the baseline. Hart can't corral it. Quarles Daniels can't either, despite her effort. Holloway and Quarles Daniels, the 2 little ones who play the 2 guard positions, leading the Wolverines with 6 rebounds apiece.
Ah, you'd love to see it. Diminutive on the outside, but big heart on the inside. And big shoe, too, right there. Too bad, because she almost had that hustle play executed. There was a travel right there.
McKinney wrapped up by Quarles Daniels. She has made an imprint on this game. Battle can't get free, and now Braun is going to have to make something happen. 5 to shoot. Ooh. The crossover and the take cannot converge, but there's going to be a whistle. Amila Holloway. That'll be her first.
Ooh, but this drive, though, the pity pat. Oh, Mara Braun. Oh, put the brakes on and went the other way with it. That was just sharp as a knife, boy. I tell you what, she got exactly what she wanted out of that. Putting pressure on the low man. Rotation and defensive helper wasn't in place.
Braun, 95% from the free throw line this season, calmly hits the first. That's her first point of this second half. Up to 8 right now, make it 9 as she calmly hits both. Parents watching, Chris and Ramona cheering on the Gophers here in Ann Arbor.
Sila Swords has only taken 4 shots in this game, 2 of 4 for Sila. One of those was a 3-point bomb at the end of the first half for a 3.
It's going to be the 3rd foul on Kendall Dudley, an illegal screen that bent over McKinney in half.
She seems to be okay, but when you get knocked in the thigh muscle right there, that stings and burns.
Groholski was electric in the third quarter for Minnesota. Now Battle surveying. And a whistle away from the ball as McKinney is being tested in the paint by Corals Daniels. That's number 2 on her.
Yeah, it looked like Minnesota was trying to run some kind of iteration of a flex offense there. Where there's a cross screen on the lane line to take a cut to the ball and then a pin down. Let's see if they try to run that again.
Heave it into Braun. Braun, her defender on her back, opening up Groholski. Groholski knifing through the defense to the cup.
How about that? Solidly executed once again. Downhill, straight line drives to the rim.
19 points for Grace Groholski, coming off an all Big Ten season. Michigan slowing things down, working through Swords. Olsen, what a spin move and finish. 19 she has as well.
Saucy. Oh my. Put him in the spin cycle. Olsen right there was able to make that move because she made a connection with the defense and spun off of him nicely.
Midway points of the fourth quarter. Minnesota trying to pull the upset on the road. Michigan looking to bounce back after a loss to Washington. Braun hits the deck off target from 3. Delphos at court, and she is slowed up with the foul.
Groholski, well, I tell you what, she has just been magnificent. A little pump fake to freeze the defense, and now the help is standing locked leg. Can't do that. You got to cut her off. She's going straight to the rim. Speaking of straight to the rim, look at this spin cycle. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, with the lefty. Took her right up to the rim for a sweet, smooth finish. That was just nicely executed. And you have to make those decisive decisions with the basketball when you catch it like that. That's why that move was so exceptionally beautiful to watch.
Michigan in the bonus right now, so they're going to be shooting free throws. The final 4:43 of this game. As a reminder, Michigan last in the Big Ten in free throw percentage as a group, 65%. And Delphos gives Michigan a 7-point lead.
I mean, when it comes down to it, right? Look at these free throw numbers. Free throws drawn 4th best in the conference. You got to be able to pay them off. You're going to create that level of havoc and chaos. So you better cash those in from the line. That's free money right there. Just stand up there and knock them in.
You take a beating for a good reason. You want to get the reward.
Make them pay.
Battle in trouble, bailed out by Groholski. Minnesota gonna throw this up. Groholski, ice in her veins, drops it through.
Man, keep giving her the ball. I mean, she is making play after play for Minnesota.
Delphos, the rebuttal.
This is what you came for, right? Big Ten women's hoops. Back and forth we go.
Battle just misses the up and under. The rebound contained along the baseline by Swords, and she is fouled by Minnesota. It's going to be 4 on Tonga.
It's raining a couple threes right now. Ann Arbor, Michigan, seeing all these triples fall. Groholski right there, knocking that one in. And Delphos slices that one through the nets with ease. Bench loving it, fans here in Ann Arbor loving it as well. And there's been an answer for both teams, right, in terms of momentum.
Both teams have been able to bring a response each time they faced adversity at different points in this game.
Absolutely. Sana Swords, man, she bounced that one in. Had just enough spin on it.
Michigan, 6 for 7 at the free throw line in this quarter. I think that's now 7 for 8. Minnesota facing its largest deficit tonight. Sense of urgency is high as Battle attracts the defense, and Braun nets it from distance.
Oh my goodness. And that was just a fabulous spray out. Get a piece of the paint, commit the defense, shrink it down, and spray it over.
Braun gets a piece of that. No whistle there.
That was almost a travel, too, when she tried to recollect herself.
Braun working incredibly hard here on Swords, but she goes the other direction, attacks and gets the roll.
Nice rejection of that screen by Dudley up top. The defense had committed to go over the top because of her solid ability to score it.
Battle, the mid-range doesn't fall. The rebound up for grabs. Players on the floor. Olsen trying to hold on. Jump ball is going to stay on this side.
Minnesota has found success with that particular offensive set.
Back on the floor for
Trying to get the ball back down in the painted area. Michigan has only been outscored twice in the paint this season, once by Washington and the other by UConn. And they are 11-0 when they have won the battle in the paint. And right now, it's 28-26 Michigan in paint points.
They normally score 47 per game. Here's Graholski stepping behind the line. Off that time, she's got 4 triples today against the number 9 team in the country. Well, Michigan has time on its side here with the ball in their hands.
Yeah, and they do not need to rush any actions. Matter of fact, they need to squeeze the shot clock down a little bit. Take away opportunities on the other end.
Olsen gallops to the rim off one leg and off glass. A 10-point lead, and timeout is called.
30-second coaches timeout.
Olivia Olsen has authored an exquisite game. 21 points, 9 of 16 shooting.
Well, she's just been a monster, right? Attacking the low man, that rotational defense. Hart right there with 2 high hands, and it didn't matter. She is just staying focused on the target and the task at hand.
66-56 is Michigan's lead, outscoring Minnesota in this quarter 22-13. Looking at their upcoming schedule, they'll be at Penn State, then a couple games at home, and then they're taking part in the Coretta Scott King Classic, taking on number 7 Vanderbilt, which just upset LSU yesterday.
Yeah, how about that? Vanderbilt beat LSU, and so did Kentucky. There's a lot of shifting and moving in the AP Top 25 this week.
How about the upsets we've seen in the Big Ten with Illinois over Maryland? We saw Washington take down this Michigan team as well. And Minnesota coming close against Maryland. Close here again. Here is Braun on the attack, and she's going to be shooting too, where she is near automatic.
Wolverines fouls on number 1, Olivia Olsen.
You know, as soon as the calendar turned to 2026, like, havoc broke out on both sides, men's and women's basketball on the collegiate level.
That has certainly been the vibe so far.
I like it.
At the line shooting,
Love a good vibe. You know that.
Hey, if we're having these kind of results, you know, in January,
How about that?
let's brace ourselves for March.
Yeah, say less.
Braun good on the first. She's got 13 points. And 2 for 2.
Still time for Minnesota if they can collect some stops. And there's one.
That's going to help. That was a travel. Back to Minnesota ball. Just like that.
Kim Martirico not arguing it, but just wants to see her team play with some poise right here to finish strong.
Minnesota could potentially get within 5 with under 2 minutes to go here. Battle the hesitation right at Olsen. She is fouled. 2 free throws coming up. That is 3 now on Olivia Olsen.
Olivia Olsen, her 3rd, team set.
Yeah, Battle did a great job right there. She knew that Olsen wasn't set up as a legal guarding defender. And that right arm, she's got to get that arm up. And she knew that it wasn't there, so she went right at her hip and connected to the body.
Battle good on the first. 5 points, 5 rebounds for Maya Battle. 2 for 2. Gophers knocking them down in critical moments here in the later stages of the 4th quarter.
Trying for those dribble handoffs, and Minnesota is playing so tough in the gaps. Getting some deflections on those.
Swords wrapped up underneath. Now 10 to shoot. Quick ball movement. Holloway immediately met by Kinney. 4 seconds now. The step back by Holloway is left short. Quarles Daniels continues to dominate the offensive glass, and Barnes-Arico calls a timeout.
Yeah, I mean, Quarles Daniels, I was like, man, kick that back out and eat up more of the clock. You got a reset of 20 that's now at 18. Ken Barnes-Arico probably thought the same thing and said, you know what, timeout. Let's reorganize ourselves. 2-possession game at the minute 20. Let's make sure we're maximizing our effort with solid execution. Everyone working as a unit on both sides of the floor.
It is a 2-possession game, 1:20 to go. Minnesota seeking its first top 10 win since defeating number 10 Maryland back on February 18, 2018. Their last top 10 road win in the regular season. They have to go back to January 2002. But an opportunity still possible here at Chrysler Center.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am really curious to see what Michigan is going to run here on this out-of-bounds under. And also if Dawn Plitzuweit scouted it, sniff it out, maybe switch everything here. Oh.
Poked out of bounds.
That's a tough flat pass. I love a good flat pass on the out-of-bounds under, but if it's unguarded. I mean, that was a guarded flat pass on the out-of-bounds under. It's super dangerous. But Michigan will retain the possession, and that's such a tough entry point that they have here now.
Right in front of their own bench. Here was Holloway to get it in. Swords. It's going to reset up this offense, guarded by Braun.
I love that matchup.
Dudley takes it from the high post, has it poked away by Glenn. Minnesota flying all over the place. Swords, no good from 3. And that's going to stay right.